purple drink.
Uh-oh.
It's different.
Oh, okay.
Scissor and lean, purple drink. The main thing is that you have to have a codeine-based cough syrup in it.
Oh.
So I think, like, I never drank this kind of stuff, but it was like a thing, and it was like a Houston music scene. Like DJ Screw he would take music and it would get chopped and screwed, and that would mean he would like chop it up but slow it down. And to go with that kind of music, you're supposed to have some scissor or some lean, which is like Sprite, codeine, cough syrup, and then some Jolly Ranchers or something. And
Wasn't there like a Simpsons about that?
Flaming Moe's?
Yeah.
That has cough syrup, but this is different.
Oh, okay.
Because you're supposed to get like messed up from it.
Right.
And then you listen to DJ Screw, and Screw music goes along with a drink. It's kind of interesting because there's a whole music scene that also had a drink to go with it, which you don't get
like a
very
whole
often.
evening.
Yeah, listen to some Screw and drink some scissor. And what better way to start an episode on the sound of music than a little journey into mid-90s hip-hop in Houston.
Wow.
But let's go. Let's talk Sound of Music. That's why we're here, folks. So welcome everyone to another episode of I Love This. You should too. My name is Indy Randhawa. And with me is Samantha Tea, a drink with jam and bread, Randhawa.
That's more my speed.
Although I drink more tea than you.
You do. Actually, no,
and
this
you
week,
have more cough syrup than I do.
I guess.
Because I don't take cough syrup.
Unless
I don't take medicine.
Unless I force it upon you.
Yeah, that's true. So you should be scissor.
I guess. I've never taken it recreationally, though.
Me neither. Maybe it's something we should try. Or maybe we should just go on and talk about the 1965 film, The Sound of Music.
Yes. I'm excited. Are you excited?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not often excited for our episodes. I like talking to you, but I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to talk about this. Actually, there's a few. There's a few. This probably isn't one of them, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad episode. It's going to be such a good episode, you guys. You hung out through Scissor Talk, so you might as well listen to it now.
Yeah, so we're talking about The Sound of Music, and I love this movie. I still love it. Did you?
I'm going to pull a Sam. I liked it.
Okay.
I was actually disappointed a little.
What?
I thought I loved this movie, but I do like it.
Okay.
It's odd what I was disappointed with. Things that I didn't think would be issues for me. Because it is a very saccharine, feel-good movie, and I had no problems with any of that.
Right.
But then there were some parts where I was like, I don't know.
Okay.
But let's break it down.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
So this is your favorite movie? No, favorite musical.
Yes.
And I said it is my third favorite musical about Nazis.
Right.
I still think that's the case for me.
The third.
Yeah.
I'll take third.
Not third favorite musical.
No, about Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll take it.
All right. Can you list more than three musicals about Nazis?
No. Cabaret.
Mm-hmm.
The Sound of Music.
Mm-hmm.
The Producers.
Yeah. I'd go Cabaret, Producers, Sound of Music. Although
Okay.
Producers and Sound of Music, they're pretty tight.
Okay. I've seen Producers. It was great.
Better than this, some might say.
No, I don't think so.
So this is still your favorite.
Uh-huh.
Upon this rewatch, notice anything new, or did it just reignite an already strong love?
I think it reignited. I think it was like a trip down memory lane. I cried a few times.
Did you cry? I didn't notice that.
I totally cried.
When?
During Something Good. When
Really?
Yeah, when they're like singing their like first love song together. Edelweiss. When he like picks up the guitar and
The first time?
sings again. Yeah. And then during the festival when they sing it again.
The third time.
Yeah.
I think that song is like 4 times in this movie.
Probably, but I got a little emotional during this movie,
Wow.
and I feel like I do every time I see it. But it's just such a lovely story.
See, I know that you love this movie, and I like it very much the songs are iconic, of course. It's a very well-constructed movie, but I didn't feel the emotional notes working on me at all. I felt very distant from this movie.
Interesting.
And I felt like I was watching it as a student or for this podcast to
Right.
talk and discuss it. But I think I never for an instant really got lost in the characters and the emotion of the movie, which was going to be my criticism of it, is it has all these feel-good moments, and it is a movie about those moments, really. I didn't find them terribly effective to me.
Interesting.
And usually I'm more emotionally swayed by movies than you are.
Yeah.
Not the case with this one.
Interesting. Yeah, no, this one just like sweeps me up and takes me on a ride, and I was totally in it. Even though we watched it in like 2 separate sittings because it is a very long movie and I had a very busy weekend. I totally was wrapped up in it and could not wait to get back to watching it. I think this movie like still totally does it for me.
And I wonder if a bunch of it is your childhood connection, because this movie, I know the popular criticism at the time, and I don't think it's necessarily wrong, is that, yeah, this movie's for 7-year-olds. So are so many good movies. Aladdin's for 7-year-olds, and it's fantastic.
True.
I feel like this is, I think Aladdin's better, actually, but I feel like this is a great musical for children, and people who watched it as children probably still love it now. And I think I watched it for the first time as a 19-year-old when I was just kind of trying to learn about film a lot. And I don't know, it's just good to me. It doesn't, the emotional core left me wanting more.
Interesting.
Not in the good way of like, oh, I loved it, give me more. It's like, no, I need more.
No, I want a sequel.
A sequel?
Yeah. I want to know what happens when they make it to Switzerland.
It does end very strangely.
Yeah.
But let's go through it.
Let's start at the very beginning.
Let's go through the movie. Yeah, chronologically. We'll talk as we go. We won't be here for 3 hours.
You missed the call and response there.
Well, what did you say?
I said, let's start at the very beginning, and you're supposed to say,
a very good place to start. Yeah. For someone who doesn't love this musical, I do know all the words to almost every song,
yes.
which I was surprised
There
by.
was a few songs that you were like, I don't know this song.
Yeah, I think there were 3, and I still, I could have done without them.
I had to hold myself back from singing along to the entire thing.
You did sing for quite a bit of it.
Yeah, just off and on. Oh, can I tell you a story before we start?
Let's do it.
Okay, so I love this movie, and my mom loves this movie, and my Aunt Audrey also enjoys this movie. And the Arden Theater in St. Albert, for those of you who live in Edmonton, was doing a sing-along night for Sound of Music. And
oh, that sounds brutal.
it was brutal. We did not realize that there are people who treat Sound of Music like people who treat like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So there was like things that people yelled at certain points.
Oh, I didn't know
like
that.
Everyone was wasted. I think I was the youngest person there by like 20 years.
So it's a bunch of so St. Albert, for those of you who don't know.
And this was like probably 10 years ago.
Is a old, white, rich town.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it, right?
For sure.
And so they're all just a bunch of hammered 65-year-olds.
Yeah.
Interesting. That sounds... I would be upset. I would be like, I want to hear these people sing.
We were
and I got these
so
assholes.
upset that we left before the intermission.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because people were just like it's one thing when you know you're going to like the midnight showing of Halloween of like Rocky Horror Picture Show. And you kind of know what you're in for. This I did not expect, and it totally ruined the like beginning of the movie for me, and I was like upset. Mom and my aunt were upset, and it was just like we were just like, should we just like leave and get a glass of wine somewhere, because it was just like really upsetting and doing something like totally not pointless, but like something that this movie doesn't need.
Did you not have the inclination to also just get hammered and sing along?
No, because these people were like sloppy drunk at this point.
Well, they're probably drinking some of that scissor.
Probably
on that lean.
But yeah, so it was just like, it was very, very upsetting, and we still talk about it. And every so often I get the like Facebook memory of it. Just like, I have like bad feelings towards that. But this movie I do not. So
that's funny and also very strange. I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh.
I didn't know that like there was a following like that for Sound of Music.
Yeah.
And there was all sorts of like things, like call and response things that they were doing as the movie was going. And it was just like very distracting and very disruptive. And like everybody else was on this level that like we were not prepared for.
Like whenever someone said Heil Hitler, you all stand up and do a Sieg Heil.
No. But yeah, there was just like little things, and like anytime the captain was on the screen, they like people would like yell, and like it was just like it was a whole thing, and I was not prepared, and I did not enjoy it. Never again.
Good to know. So if you're going to, so this was a live production though.
No, this was.
Oh, this was just the movie.
The Arden played the movie, and it was like, come sing along to your favorite movie, and we were like, that sounds great.
Okay, that's better. I thought it was a live production, and I would be furious.
Both
no. As a performer and as an audience member if that happened. But for a movie, I think it's more acceptable.
But it was just like...
But you need to know about that.
Yeah, none of us knew. And like I do research. And so it's like, no, none of us knew that like this was like a thing that people did. So anyway, this was a much more happy watching that you and I had.
Nice and quiet except for you singing.
Yeah.
Just the way it should be.
Exactly.
All right, let's get into it. Ready?
Okay, ready.
So we start off. Oh, there has that like epic helicopter shot off the beginning.
Yeah. They used a lot of helicopters in this movie.
I'm very curious because I'm me about which camera they were using. And so much of the stuff now would be unusable to us.
True.
Like the footage is so bumpy.
The shakiness of some of those shots are...
But it's 1965. It was a beautiful shot.
Yeah. And this is funny because like I've never noticed it until now. I've started watching movies more like critically. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I was thinking that at the beginning too. And I was like, I don't think I ever realized how shaky this like helicopter is.
Because it's a giant camera up there.
It is.
Helicopter.
And it's a helicopter. So there's going to be wind on top of mountains. Like there's going to be lots of weather happening up there. So I feel like they did a great job, but I did not realize until now just how shaky that was.
And later there's a shot where they're all in like a cart kind of thing. And that's
like a carriage
super bumpy as
on
well.
the cobblestones,
yes.
Which I can imagine would be very hard to film on.
Yeah.
Like you don't have those giant tracks that you have now, and like...
Oh, they did.
Did they?
They just... Well, they were shooting on location, so I guess putting tracks down is probably not just the easiest thing to do.
Right. Yeah.
But if you look at things like Casablanca shot before this, there's crazy tracking shots and dolly shots in there.
Oh, okay. But yeah, there's some like real shaky camera work, but I enjoy how it opens the movie because you really get like an idea of what Austria looks like.
And we start off with How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria?
Nope.
No?
The Sound of Music.
Oh, The Sound of Music.
Yeah. The Hills Are Alive.
Oh, just her singing by herself and then she's all late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview of Julie Andrews when they were doing these shots and this helicopter flying through this field she's standing in back and forth. And she said the amount of hair and makeup that they had to like come back and do every time because it just totally like tossed everything.
So that's her hair after a bunch of work.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She's gorgeous. I love her. But yeah, I just remember she's like, yeah, they did like 20 takes with this helicopter, and every single time they had to come and like reset everything because you just get totally like windblown. And it was also very, very loud, and she had to pretend to sing, but she couldn't hear anything that was happening. Yeah. So movie magic. What did you think of the opening song?
It's kind of like the iconic one, but meh. And I don't want to say that as a whole. In this movie, it's not in the top 5 songs, I would say.
No, true. There are better songs than this one, but it is the iconic Sound of Music song. Yeah. Called The Sound of Music. But yeah, I like this one. I think it's got like grand epic scale, and it's a fun way to start a movie. And you get to see Maria's whole like life at the Abbey, which is kind of neat. So then the next little bit is lots of nuns and chorus and everything, and you get a really nice Alleluia like chorus from the nuns, and then we get Maria.
Oh yes.
Which is kind of a fun song. I enjoy this one because it is very much like, here's all the information you need to know about Maria.
It's my second favorite song, called Maria, from a Robert Wise movie. He did West Side Story.
Yeah, I was going to say West Side Story. Yeah. And I like how affectionately they sing about her, but also just like what a pain in the ass she is.
Yeah.
They're like, we love her, but like also, come on, get your shit together.
I did start like putting notes beside the songs and just a number out of 10. And this one says 5.
Okay. 5 out of 10.
I guess so.
Okay.
Well, we get some 9s later, so.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, this one's, it's fun. You get to like know who she is and like who is kind of in her life at this point. And then we move on to other things in the story. So I like this one. I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
And we find out that she's, she's always late, all of that stuff, head in the clouds and whatnot. So they're just going to loan her out to some rich people. They're like, you know what? I know some rich people. Go help them out for a while. Get out of our hair.
Yeah. They're like, I don't know that you're going to be a nun. So like maybe go try being in the world for a bit and see how that works. And I guess it worked.
Can abbeys just loan you out?
I think so.
Apparently.
Because I feel like you've committed your life to the church.
Oh, so they can do with you as they please.
I think so. Because she says like all of my worldly goods and like my good outfits and everything were given to the poor. And so like she's entered a life of religion. And I think she maybe not like suited for it. So they want her to try like a non-life of religion for a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't want to be loaned out, but it works out well for her. Free labor. That's what it is. Do you think the Abbey gets a kickback?
Oh, I wonder.
Like, do you think Captain Von Trapp is paying the Abbey for Maria? Because I feel like she's not getting paid.
No, clearly.
And they give her like room and board. So that
did they sell her?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Is she essentially a slave?
I don't know. I've never considered it, but it kind of seems like that now.
We'll have to ask some nuns.
Yeah.
Are you frequently traded around like property?
Yeah. So Maria gets lent out to Captain Von Trapp. And we get one of my favorite, like, I Wish or like Journey
I Have
songs.
Confidence?
Yeah.
Oh, hard disagree.
Outside of like a Disney movie.
Oh, I must stop these doubts, all these worries. If I don't, I just know I'll turn back. I must dream of the things I am seeking. I am seeking the courage I lack. The courage to serve them with reliance. Face my mistakes without defiance. Show them I'm worthy, and while I show them, I'll show me.
But I think that this one is like super fun, and you get to see more of her personality, and you get to see a bunch of Salzburg. Is that where they are?
Yes.
Yeah. So you get to see a bunch of that and just like the old timey bus and everything. So I think this is like super fun, and you get to see a range of emotions from her.
So what's that out of 10?
Like an 8.
Oh, this was like a 3 for me.
What?
I did not like this song.
I Have Confidence.
No, it didn't seem like a song fully. It felt like they weren't done.
Oh. Like they were like, okay, we'll just do what you have.
We'll do this for now, and then we'll think of something better later.
Oh, no. No, I like this song quite a bit.
Did I not like this movie?
Uh-oh.
No, I did.
Uh-oh. Are you backtracking?
You know what I like is when she meets the kids and pretty much everything between her interactions with the children. That's what I like about this movie. That was when it's at its strongest, I thought.
Okay.
I love how, like, first them like being dicks to her and like saying the wrong names and all of that stuff, putting the frog in her pocket. But what I loved is when she starts guilting them at dinner and they all start crying.
Because like I feel like they're like rich children and nobody's ever called them on anything.
Yeah.
And they're just like there to be subservient and like take care of the children. And Maria comes in like guns blazing. Like,
but with a different strategy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thank you so much for all these wonderful things you've done. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it really makes me feel valued. It's like, thanks for putting a frog. Was it a frog?
I think so.
In my pocket.
You've seen the movie 400 times?
I think it's like 400. I don't think it's been 400, but
you've seen it. How many times do you think? 50?
Maybe.
Whoa. I don't know if I've seen any movie 50 times.
I feel like we had this discussion when we talked about Bring It On too.
Right. Which you said was like 200.
Because this has always been my like sick day movie. You just like lay on the couch and watch a 3-hour movie and try and feel better.
this movie I've seen more than anything is probably Nightmare Before Christmas, because I watch it every Christmas Eve since like 94, 95.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been quite a while, but still not as much as you. It's a once a year viewing for me.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I have a long history with this movie.
And Maximum Overdrive, but that's another
That's a
story
whole
we'll talk
other
about
thing.
one day.
We've already talked about that on the podcast.
But we're going to do a whole episode on it.
Oh, are we?
Oh, of course.
Okay, great. So we get to know the children a little bit.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite child?
Yeah.
Gretel.
Yeah, it's hard not. That's an easy pick, I think. I agree.
Gretel. And I like Liesel because she has
She
like
actually has stuff.
a little bit more. Yeah. she's,
Wait,
like,
who do
an
you
arc.
hate? Who's the worst kid?
Um,
So it goes, I remember the kids' names. I got it.
Rutabaga.
It took me a long time,
It
but
did.
it goes Liesel,
uh-huh.
Friedrich, or Frederick, I don't know, Louisa,
Uh-huh.
Kurt,
Yeah.
Rutabaga,
Uh-huh.
Marta,
Yeah.
Gretel.
I think Brigida Rutabaga.
Oh, that's your least favorite?
Yeah.
I don't like Louisa.
The orange-haired one that
Yeah.
you kept referring to?
Louisa and Kurt. Don't care for either of them.
Oh.
They look similar.
Huh.
They look like they're actual siblings.
I do like Friedrich. He seems
Friedrich's
he's
good.
funny.
I think he went on to have like a big career.
Did he?
Of course, Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer are the big names, and most of the kids didn't do much. But I believe he's been acting like consistently. He's like a TV guy, not doing big things, but he's been in every show ever, I think.
Oh, he was Peter Parker in the 1970s Amazing Spider-Man.
The Voice?
Yeah.
Like the 67?
Mhm.
Really?
I think so.
The 1967 show was
No,
good.
the 1970s it says, but that could just be
It just says the 70s?
yeah.
What are you looking at that just said he was in a show in the 70s?
Wikipedia.
You'd think they would have dates. Maybe that's Spider-Man and his amazing friends with Firestar and Iceman.
Wikipedia told me. Who's your favorite kid?
Probably the same. I like Liesel, Gretel, and Friedrich.
Yeah.
Marta was good too, I think.
Oh, see, I didn't like her as much.
Really, it's those three middle ones that I don't. But honestly,
They got good back at the end of the.
I get Brigida and Marta mixed up, so I might be wrong.
Oh, okay, that's fair because they do also like mix themselves up at the beginning of the movie.
Well, I think Louisa is being a dick, and she says she's
Yeah,
Marta
that's what I
or
meant.
something.
But like, they like kind of knowingly confuse you at the beginning of the movie to learn their names. So, yeah. So Liesel is 16 going on 17.
Oh, is she ever?
And I think this might be like a 9 out of 10 for me.
I put this as a 7. It's a good one.
Yeah, this is a good one. It's like a fun love song. This is why I like Liesel so much, is because she actually has like a character arc,
Yeah.
and you get a little bit more from her than with some of the middle kids.
And Rolf sings in this one too,
Yes.
right? Oh, he comes in later because first it's just Maria and her.
No,
No?
Maria and her are at the end of the movie.
So that's one of my big criticisms. We'll get there in the second half
Okay.
because there's no new songs in the second half of the movie.
No.
That's terrible. You're going to give me a 3-hour movie and then the last 90 minutes, there's no new songs in a musical?
It's all reprise, baby.
That's terrible.
Well, they do change up some of the lyrics.
But their gazebo dance, that was fun too. I like that.
Yeah. I've always wanted to like run in a circle like that and jump over benches in a floaty dress. I feel like that would be like pretty great.
Oh yeah, that looked fun.
Her dress is like amazing. If I could wear that dress now, I totally would.
There's some good outfits in general.
Yeah, the fashion in this is
I like their
good.
play clothes that she makes for
Yes.
the curtains.
I like the like lederhosen style normal clothes that aren't like specifically lederhosen. I like those little touches of what would have been just like traditional clothing. Some of the hats they wear.
And then when she comes back, Liesel's dress is filthy and muddy.
Yeah.
Is the implication that they had sex?
No, I think she got real muddy climbing a tree and then
Why is there mud up in a tree? That's not how trees work.
I don't know. It must have been a real dusty tree.
A real dusty tree?
Yeah.
In the rain.
Yeah. No, like it was dusty and then it got wet, so then it was like kind of muddy.
That's...
You know how mud works?
No, I don't. Do you know how mud works?
Apparently
Because it
not.
doesn't come from the tops of trees.
I don't know. I don't know how high she had to climb or if she fell down while she was trying to climb it.
Okay.
And then she sneaks into Maria's room. And I don't know what she was like thinking would happen. Like if she thought that Maria just wasn't going to see her.
Or that she wasn't there at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But they have a nice little moment and a little bit of bonding, which is nice.
And it was fun after that when there's the sequence when all the kids come in. And first it's all the girls and they're like, oh, but the boys are brave. And then they all come in too. That was fun.
I liked them getting all like strong and tall, like they were going to save all the girls from the thunderstorm.
Yeah.
And then you got My Favorite Things, which is another like classic Sound of Music song.
I'd say more famous than The Sound of Music itself.
It's also been adapted into kind of like a Christmas song.
Yeah.
Which is I don't get that.
I never really think of it as a Christmas song, but when I heard it, I was like, oh, I love this song. This is going to be great. I didn't like the version in the movie. I think because I've heard it so much that I expect it to be sung. And Julie Andrews, who's a fantastic singer, she doesn't use that voice.
Yeah.
Oh, together. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into spring. These are a few of my favorite things.
Yeah, I didn't care for it much in this. I came in, like, I wrote 9 because I was like, oh, I love this song. And then I heard it, I was like, oh, maybe a 7.
Oh, I think this is a 9.
I think other versions I've heard are better.
I just don't understand why this has been like recorded on Christmas albums. So after Captain Von Trapp comes and breaks up the party and is super grumpy for like the first half of the movie, everybody goes back to bed and then he leaves on a business trip and we get Do Re Mi, which is a classic song that everyone knows.
And this, like, you got to give this a high score. This is the iconic song of the
for
whole
sure.
movie,
I think
say.
This is a 10. And the montage that goes along with it of
That's
them
true.
like
the
being
fun time
children,
picnic in the new outfits, that was great. That was maybe the best part of the movie, I think.
I think this is it's a high point for sure. And you do like for once get to see them being children, which is great instead of soldiers.
Yeah, the development of the children into children is the best part of this movie. It's a shame that it's kind of done 33% of the way into the movie.
Yeah. But it's nice to see them like relax slowly into Maria and her crazy world, her Mary Poppins-ness. Would you wear an outfit made of curtains?
Oh, sure.
If
How
they
do you
were,
know that I'm not right now?
I don't actually. I would totally wear an outfit made of those curtains because they were super nice fabric. I liked the print of them. So then Captain Von Trapp comes back and gets mad at them.
Oh, right, because they were all like in the trees when they were driving in with the Baroness.
And then they fall off the boat and they're all soaked. And then he comes back from yelling at Maria and realizes that they're singing The Sound of Music to the Baroness. And the captain joins in. And it's the first time he seems like a human being.
His performance, Christopher Plummer in this, what do you think? It's uneven to me.
I can see that, yeah.
He seems disinterested.
I think what it's supposed to be is that he loved their mother so much that he like can barely bear to be with his children.
Oh, yeah. Not disinterested in the children. He's intentionally that. The actor seems disinterested in the movie, in partaking in what's going on. He, at times, especially when he's singing, he's barely moving his mouth.
It's true. He does not open his mouth very much.
And there are moments, because Christopher Plummer is a good actor, there's moments where you're like, oh, he's like commanding this performance.
Yeah.
But they're so few and far between that
True.
I know he referred to it as the sound of mucus and hated it and said he was drunk the whole time.
What?
So maybe that's
maybe he was just too drunk to like open his mouth?
Yeah. It's a strange performance. At first I was like, okay, this is what he's going for because he's so aloof. But then it's something else. I think he's just not giving it his all.
Yeah. He seems a little like manic at the end. Like when he's supposed to be like happy and in love, he's got like crazy eyes. I feel like the beginning he's like stern and he plays that really well because I feel like that doesn't take a lot of like acting. But yeah, by the end of the movie, he's like, woo! And it just seems like a little out there.
Okay, let's talk about performances for a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to say my most controversial take I've ever had on this podcast.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think Julie Andrews was great.
What?
I don't think when she's not singing, I don't think she knows what to do with herself.
Oh, no, I disagree.
And I know she is great in other things. I'm not going to deny that. I'm thinking in this movie, we just have this idea like, it's Julie Andrews. It's the Sound of Music. It's one of the best things ever. And then when I watch it, I'm like, I don't know if it is. Her reactions to stuff are sometimes delayed or sometimes early. Like she knows what line is coming. And it doesn't always seem like a human's reaction to things. Huh. But because she's this charming, overwhelming, charming spirit who's a great singer, we just like, yeah, she's great. Look at her. But I don't think acting in this movie is her best quality. Oh,
I disagree. And maybe I am just saying like because she's so charming and like great at singing that I am just falling into that category of people who are like, no, she's great. But I think that she really makes the movie for me.
I think it's probably how like a lot of people are like, I hate Ryan Reynolds. He's just doing his thing in every movie. And I'm like, oh, but that thing is very charming, so I like it. Yeah. I don't think she's great at the things that aren't singing in this.
Huh, okay.
Even when she's swinging her bags around and stuff, I'm like, what's going on there? Did she rehearse this?
I always thought it was like her just being too much for the world. Like she like can't be at the Abbey because she's like too much for that. And then she's such a big personality in this house of like somber children and like a very strict dad. And I just feel like she's always larger than life. And that's why some of those like movements and things are kind of awkward.
Sure, I would get that for her like big happiness. That makes sense. But that's not where she's lacking. It's anything that's not huge. It's huge or nothing.
Right.
I get that it's a big, lavish musical and there's not a lot of room for subtlety, but there's some room for subtlety.
True. Yeah, okay. So Christopher Plummer, we already talked about. Yeah. Odd. What did you think of Liesl?
I think she was one of the better performances.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that also comes from her being like a more mature person.
Yeah.
Right? I think she was like 19 or 20 when she filmed this. So
it seems like everyone's actual age is what the person above them is. Like Maria is supposed to be in her like early
22, 20s. I think.
So I think Liesl, the actress who plays Liesl, should be playing Maria, and everyone should take one up because everyone is clearly too old for what they say they are.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because she's supposed to be like 16. 16 going on 17. And she's not 16.
No.
She looks like 21.
She does. She looks like a young adult. I think that her performance is the best of all the children just because she is like a little bit older and she's probably done some other things. Or
she has the most
gone
to do.
School or like whatever. But yeah, she also has the most to do.
Because I don't know how, what's her name, Rutabaga can really wow us because she doesn't have much to do. I keep forgetting that one's name.
Brigitte.
I've never heard that name before.
No?
The rest are all common names.
Oh, I really like that name. Brigitte. It's like Bridget, I guess. Yeah. Was there anybody else that stood out to you in the movie?
I think one of the other people who I actually know was Uncle Max.
Uncle Max.
Because he's in, I think, Young Frankenstein is where I know him from. But he was kind of fun. The Baroness and him, that was interesting to me because it sets it up like, oh, they're just after the money. Mm-hmm. No, not really. They just think that'd be nice too.
Yeah.
And like, oh, she's going to be real evil. It's going to be a Parent Trap turn while we hate her. We have to hate her just so they can move on to Maria as the love interest.
Yeah.
But no, she's fine. She's kind of treated quite poorly by him, honestly. And then she just goes on her way.
Her major fault is that she's never been around children. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to marry someone who has 7 of them. So I feel like she's just really unprepared for the life that she's chosen. And it might
But he has 7 kids and doesn't have any interest in children either.
True. But yeah,
she's just picking up on his energy.
One of my favorite scenes of the Baroness is when they're playing that like ball game.
Oh yeah, she's so bad at it.
Trying to like control her body as she's catching a ball and like is clearly scared whenever they throw it. And I just think that was like such a good scene for her.
So they sing Sound of Music for the second time. They dry off real fast so they can sing
fast.
that. Oh, and then there's the puppet sequence, which was, those puppets were scary and had so much cleavage.
Oh yeah, the Lonely Goat Herd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good song. I think that's one of the better
songs.
songs.
It's a great one because you get to see like the kids having fun again and the adults like actually appreciating their talent or skills, I guess. But yeah, I like this one, and I like all the little behind the scenes glimpses you get of the kids trying to like control this giant puppet show
that they somehow learned like real quick.
They do everything so quickly.
Those are some talented kids.
And like towards like later in the movie when they sing their So Long Farewell at the party, they're like in bed and asleep. Like Maria probably could have popped in and said goodbye because they just like leave and they're done. They do everything so quick. So the next song that we come to is
Edelweiss for the first time.
Edelweiss for the first time, yes. And we get like a sweet moment between Liesel and her father, and just you get to see like all the kids just looking so hopeful that their dad is going to be like a normal dad now. And it's such a sweet moment, and he seems to like really focus all of his attention on Liesel, and it's really nice. It's like a heartwarming moment, and this is definitely one of the moments where I get like a little emotional.
Because I assume that he turned into a dick and stopped singing after the death of the mother because they used to all sing as a family, and that's a reminder. And seeing Maria do it is also kind of weird that he's like, okay, you're the new mom now, and then totally just goes for it. But it does bring him closer to the kids and back to his love of music, which was fun to watch.
Yeah, and you get to see, especially in the older ones, this like hope for the old ways. The Baroness is like, throw me a party, Georg. Throw me a ball. Like this is like a huge party. This isn't just a few friends over. And we get the So Long Farewell. And we also get some sweet moments with the kids learning how to do some of the traditional dances.
The dance part was fun. And then they have that romantic moment.
And you know it's romantic because the lens is foggy.
Yeah, they went soft focus selectively.
Yeah.
But then it would cut right back to something not. And it was a choice. I don't know. Like Robert Wise is a very good director, and so much of this was so well directed. And then there were a bunch of choices. We're like, why'd you do that?
Yeah, or there were scenes after the like foggy, like that it made sense that like it was soft focus, and like that it was still soft focus. Like it just didn't carry over well.
And there were a bunch of lighting things I noticed, but I guess for the most part, they were shooting on location. You can tell when they're not, like all of the Abbey stuff is clearly a sound stage and the rooms and whatnot, but so much of it was on location. So I guess you can be forgiving about some of the terrible lighting, but then there's the next shot and it'd be lit great. So I don't know.
Yeah. It felt like they didn't have the lights every day.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we only have this light Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if we have to shoot a scene on a Wednesday, it's just going to be how it is.
What I assumed for a bunch of the outdoor stuff is they're like, okay, it's overcast. Great. And we're shooting all this stuff. And then there's like bright sunlight. Like, oh, okay, we're just going to blow out half of this for half of the shots.
True. Some of those scenes with the kids outside, it was very, very bright.
And then when it wasn't, it made me think like, oh, is this a soundstage?
Yeah,
this
you
looks
asked that
like
a few
studio
times.
lighting. But...
Also, that backdrop of the villa is just so perfect that it sometimes did kind of look like a soundstage because it looked like just so magical, like that couldn't actually exist.
So then the Baroness like fucks with her a bit.
Yeah.
And this is like the meanest thing she does, I guess.
Oh,
But
totally.
what she says is he loves you and you love him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Was she really messing with Maria?
I feel like she knows Maria at this point and knows that her like sense of propriety and like holding herself apart from the family because she's just the governess is so strong that like as soon as she says like, oh, he loves you, like, and you clearly love him, and she's like, oh my god, that's against the rules, like, and she starts to like backpedal really quickly, and the Baroness doesn't do anything to like convince her to stay.
And do you think it's at this point that she realizes that yes, she does in fact love him?
I think so. I think while they were dancing, she started, it like planted the seed, and then she slowly, as she was talking to the Baroness, realized like, oh yeah, I do. And that's crossing all the employer-employee lines.
So then she just bails and doesn't say goodbye to anyone.
Which is shitty.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think of So Long Farewell as a song?
Oh, it's one of the best. Maybe my favorite. I don't know.
I was sad.
It's in the top 3.
I was sad later in the movie when they took out how they all kick each other in the butt.
Yeah.
To go to bed.
For me, it's this, my favorite things. Although that really dropped for me because it's not as good as I remember.
Do Re
and
Mi.
Do Re Mi.
Oh.
I think those are the 3.
Okay. What did you give So Long Farewell, the original, out of 10?
Let's say 9.
A 9? Yeah, I think so. I think it's super fun. I think, again, like anytime you get to see the kids' like personalities and see them be children, it's definitely a high point in the movie. So this was fun. And then I liked when all of the guests sang goodnight back at them.
I feel like so much of this, I have the same loves and criticisms as I did with Parent Trap. Mm-hmm. Like when you have the kids doing kid stuff, it's at its best. And then when you get bogged down in the romance, you're like, this isn't the best part of this movie.
It's not. Yeah.
The kids are more entertaining than Captain Von Trapp.
True.
And the nuns.
And the nuns.
So that brings us to the nun song.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about things that were lit weird.
What was going on there?
Okay, so she's already wearing head to toe black.
And then they would have Maria half lit.
Yeah.
Like a Queen video. And then she was just completely
Darkness.
in silhouette. Or in darkness, lurking around like Nosferatu. Yeah. For the song she is singing, she is in darkness.
This is like her big movie
and
moment.
That was a studio. So you could have done whatever.
Oh, yeah. You could have had all the lights.
I didn't understand that. It was going for a thing and I think failing on that thing.
It was
and it's
so weird. I've never noticed how dark that scene is and just how weird it is.
Until I was like, why is that lighting like that?
Yeah.
It was, for someone like Robert Wise, who's already won Best Director Oscar, I think. He's done so much. We covered the Day the Earth Stood Still. Uh-huh. Like he did such epic things like that. He did West Side Story just a few years earlier. He knows what he's doing.
Right.
I don't know who was running the show on that part of it.
It was mystifying because, this is the nun's big moment and she's singing this epic, epic song and you cannot see her for 90% of it.
It's a very strange choice.
Yeah. But I like this song quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was terrible.
Oh.
I gave it a 2.
Oh, I give it an 8.
My notes say not good, period.
Did you write period or was it just
no,
a period?
There's a period.
Okay.
Then it says, I don't like this style of singing.
Oh.
I'm sure someone will say it's technically impressive, but I hate it.
Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow till you find your dream, a dream that will need all the love you can give every day of your life for as long as you live.
It is technically impressive.
What's good about that way of singing?
I feel like you train a very long time to be able to sing like that.
But that's like saying, oh, I trained so hard, I can do more left-handed 2-finger push-ups than anyone. And you're like, okay, why?
I feel like...
Go run or like dunk a basketball, do something impressive to me. If it's only impressive to people who get how hard it is to do, then you're doing it for your own sake. I don't know. It didn't sound like a good song. That's the most simple way to put it is... I know music theory people or people who are really into musical theater who sing it and be like, oh, this is why she's very good. But if 90% of the people are like, yeah, but it sounds bad, shouldn't she get to the point where like the songs just sound good?
Oh, I think she sounds amazing.
Oh, I would have to disagree with that.
I think that was a very impressive song to sing. And like, I think it takes a lot of control and training to be able to do that. So I get that it's not your like cup of tea, but I think from like a technical standpoint, it's very, very good.
I think that's why I liked Liesl when she sings, because she sings more like most people would consider a song to sound. Mm-hmm. And the nun does not sing like songs sound.
Well, she's a nun. She sings nun songs.
She should find better nun songs or sing her nun songs in a better way like Liesl would.
I don't think Liesl's ever going to be a nun. So she hasn't trained in nun singing.
So it's a specific style of nun singing.
It's like a churchy hymn-ish kind of sound.
Well, I would then, if we're just going by that, I would prefer it be like old school monks doing their like dirge type songs. I think that's more enjoyable to listen to.
I just don't think that this song would have worked well with that kind of singing.
I don't think this song worked well with this kind of singing.
Okay.
And my next note is, why is she not lit?
Why? So dark.
How long is Maria gone from the house?
It seems like 3 days.
At tops, right?
Yeah. I also don't know how long a postulant can be in seclusion for, but I feel like it can't be that long.
Well, it just seems like it's the next day. They're like, hey, where is she? Okay, let's go get her.
Yeah.
It seems like within that week, for sure, by the way they're treating it.
Sad for a day after they realize that she's gone, and then they go get her. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like 3 days, tops. And then all of a sudden she has like a new dress and no need for luggage anymore when she comes back, and she just like...
Oh yeah, she just throws it away.
It's like in the field, she hugs all the kids and then just walks away from it and goes in the house.
And then is this where he breaks up with the Baroness?
It's just slightly after.
Okay. But they have like a romantic scene at this point, right?
Yes, yeah.
Oh yeah, because this again, the lighting gets very strange because Captain Von Trapp is lit like a vampire.
Yeah.
And she's lit like she's in a 70s soap opera. Mm-hmm. But it keeps cutting between the two of them, and you're like, what's going on?
It's like bright light, bright, dark, 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 dark. It's very strange. Yeah, you can't really see. And maybe this is why I think he looks a little manic, because of how he's lit. He just looks like a vampire.
Yeah, there's some vampire lighting on him.
It's a little crazy. So the Baroness, so Captain Von Trapp talks to Maria outside, and then she wanders off, and the Baroness comes out, and she's talking wedding, and all of a sudden Captain Von Trapp just says, no, we're not getting married. Bye.
Yeah. Is this
so quick?
And then the same day gets re-engaged?
Yeah.
He breaks off his engagement,
goes and walks down into the garden, kisses Maria and sings a song, and then they're like ready to get married.
That's pretty fucked up too.
Yeah.
Man, things move fast in this world, especially in the second half of the movie.
Yes.
The second half of the movie is like breakneck pace for everything because they're trying to cram so much in.
The war's coming.
But the first half is so much better.
Yeah, true.
The second half of this movie, I think, is just not a good movie.
Oh, I like it.
The pacing is very strange. There's no new songs. There's just like, hey, look, remember that song you liked before? Here's it a little bit worse. Why would I want all that?
I don't know. I agree with you on the pace. I feel like if this had been slowed down or like given obvious amounts of time between things, like how long she's at the Abbey, just like tell us. That's an easy thing to put in there. Like, oh, she's been gone a week and I miss her every day, or like something like that.
I think she leaves the family, comes back, the marriage is broken up, and he gets re-engaged to her. All of that happens in 3 days, I think.
That's wild.
Yes, it is.
That's too fast. But you know, the Nazis were coming and they had to get stuff done.
Yeah, I guess so. Is the song Something Good?
Yes.
Who sings that one?
Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer.
But he doesn't sing his stuff, right?
No, Bill Lee sang his stuff.
Okay.
So
It did seem like it wasn't his voice.
No, yeah, when he was singing, I say that with like air quotes, when he was pretending to sing all of his parts, it did feel like his voice and his face didn't match up. Mm-hmm. Like he was really bad at lip syncing too.
I think he was drunk, from what it sounds like.
I mean, that would make you bad at lip syncing.
So something good, I do not remember any of it. I didn't write any notes under it except for, why don't they light her?
True.
She's in the darkness.
Very dark as well. This is her
some light in her
climb
eyes.
every mountain moment. And this is like the big like love peak for them. And they're finally acknowledging their feelings for each other. And yeah, she's not lit. Why does this director not want to light the people who are actually singing the songs?
In the first half of the movie, he did.
Yeah. It's like,
I don't know what was going on in the second half of this movie.
Did they run
seems
out
like
of
worse
money to
quality.
rent the lights?
Well, they didn't even shoot it sequentially. They shot it probably all of the studio stuff in the US first and then all the Austrian location stuff second, or vice versa. But
Yeah.
So there's no reason for the quality to be from first half to second half to have a difference.
True.
But I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah, it was weird.
And then suddenly, hey, it's her wedding.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Surprise. They're married.
Suddenly they're getting married.
She's in a wedding dress.
She never got a better haircut in all of that time. And she just turns her back on the church and like, yeah, remember the whole nun thing?
Yeah.
Forget it. I'm out.
Well, the Reverend Mother is like, sometimes we're called for different things.
Well, she's just happy to get rid of her. That's
Probably.
why.
Yeah, she has a big problem. So
How do you solve it? Okay,
Maria's not an asset to the Abbey. I don't know if you know that.
She walks down the aisle to people singing, how do you solve a problem like Maria?
I don't think that's
walking on your
loud.
wedding day to everyone calling you a problem that needs to be solved?
I don't think that was out loud. I think that's just like the overarching theme. So as a movie watcher, you can hear that, but the people at the wedding, I assume, can't.
Every song in this movie, people can hear it in the movie.
Yeah.
Why is that one different?
I don't know.
Because it would be real mean if everyone could hear it?
It's her theme song. Also, a theme song that she doesn't even know that she has because she's not there when they're singing
she's just going and getting married and being like, okay, I turned my back on all these people, but they seem cool with it. Oh no, they're singing about how I'm such a problem. Shoot, I would cry.
Yeah, that would be pretty mean.
Yeah.
Nuns, not always nice.
No, they're usually not, actually.
Yeah. It's a beautiful wedding though, and you get to see the like excitement of the children and like the bond between Maria and Liesel, and just it's just like a lovely time. I cried a little bit during this too.
During the wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, the wedding didn't do anything for me because, well, first, I'm not invested in their romance at all. Mm-hmm. I could, if they never got together in this movie, it would probably be a better movie because the second half could be full of good, fun kid stuff because that was way better. Her relationship with the children is way more enjoyable to watch than her relationship with Captain Von Trapp. You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
You think that like the second half when they're getting married is more fun than the first half of them? Like,
No, but I think it's like I enjoy it in a different way. Like I enjoy the hijinks of the kids and getting to see them like come back to life after all of this like grief and sadness. And then I also enjoy the love story portion of this.
I think it's because I don't get why they were in love. He is just reminded of his dead wife, and she has something to do, is what it seems like. When did she fall in love with him? Why?
I don't know.
For the most part, he's everything that she hates, really.
Yeah.
He's stern, he's not fun, but then he sings Edelweiss once, and she's like, okay, you know what? Not only do I not hate you anymore, I forgive you kind of being neglectful to these children for the last 10 years. And you sang that song, so let's get married.
I think it's one of those like enemies to lovers storylines.
Those never work for me, I think, either.
So big in like romance novels. The idea of like you hate this person at the beginning and then you fall in love with them.
That sounds terrible. What if I was like, hey, remember how we hated each other for a year and we would just antagonize each other and then we got married? Crazy, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't.
That seems
I don't
so
think
weird.
it works in real life.
No, it doesn't.
But I think it's a fun theme. So they go on this honeymoon for a month.
Right.
Nazis take over.
Yeah.
The children are going to sing in the festival. And Maria's mother to 7 now.
Right.
Surprise.
There's a reprise of
16
going on 17, which was not as good as the first one again.
No, but I think it's like it's like a lovely, like tender moment between Liesl and her new mother.
They should have had a new song for that.
True. But it's like a nice callback to like, I learned my lesson. I'm not going to date a Nazi. And you're my mom now. Thanks. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, you, Mom.
I just really enjoy Charmaine Carr's voice. I think she's a good singer.
Yeah.
And I think it matches well with Julie Andrews in this song.
She sounded great. I liked her very much.
I liked her kind of like jazzy sounding voice.
Yeah.
And I think that
she has a voice of a singer who sings songs. And that's in my songs. I like people who sing songs.
Oh, okay.
That's why I didn't like The Nun so much. And like so much of my criticism of other movies, other musicals is I wish it was a song and not just long talking. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I liked Liesl so much.
Okay.
She sang songs.
She sang songs. Like I'd like a singer would sing a song.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we get to like some interesting information, which I don't think I absorbed as a kid about like the Third Reich taking over and how different Austria was after the, what's it called? The Armschloss?
Oh, yeah. The annexation of Austria by Nazis.
Germany. Yeah. And I don't think I absorbed any of that information as a child, but it is really interesting as an adult who's like done social studies and like studied some of this stuff, that this is like such a prevalent part of this movie, and the amount of like Heil Hitlers you hear and see, and just like it's really interesting watching like Uncle Max try and like adjust to this new Austrian kind of way of doing things, and you see him a couple times like half-heartedly like put his hand up and then he like touches his nose, or like he like really like one of those like I'm gonna shake your hand and then you like too slow or whatever. He was kind of doing one of those where he was like, oh no, I was just touching my hair.
He's like, I'll do it so I don't get shot, but my heart's not in it.
No, and I'm not gonna like finish it off real sharp or anything.
You know who gave the worst Heils?
Who?
Hitler. Have you ever seen them?
No.
Oh, terrible. It's like it's an audio
podcast,
medium.
But yeah.
So go look it up sometime. Watch him do
to.
it. He's terrible at it. He's the least emphatic, powerful Heiler around.
Which is so funny because
like
they like trained an entire generation of people to like do this super sharp and like meaningfully, and he's bad at it. And he's doing a Hitler impression, I guess.
Who is?
You.
Oh, me, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was really interesting to kind of see the change over the movie, and that really grumpy guy who wants to take the captain to Germany to be in the army or in the Navy, I guess. And he's like so grumpy the entire time. But he's like, it'll remind everyone that nothing has changed in Austria. The sound of children's voices. And I just thought he was like a good kind of opposite to Max.
In 99% of movies we watch, if it's taking place during slavery, the family that we watch, you know what? They were the ones who were against it. Mm-hmm. And every time it's like, you know what? We were always against it. And what movie we watch about Nazis, we're actually the ones who aren't on the Nazi side. Mm-hmm. And usually it seems contrived. And in this one, you know what? I bought it. I didn't get angry about how, like, yeah, of course, you were the ones who were against it. Everyone's a Nazi, but not you, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the way Captain Von Trapp came at it. It wasn't universal across the family. They're not all like, we are too good for this. We know Nazis are wrong. Tolerance. They didn't do that sort of thing. They did it in a way that we don't see in movies as often now. But he just had a pride in a patriotism. He was an Austrian patriot, and he saw all of this as a challenge because his homeland is being destroyed. And the way they incorporated that into this movie was something that actually made me like that character, because there wasn't much to like about Captain Von Trapp for the most part. He sings the one song every now and then, and we love him for it because it's the thing of, if you have like a really withholding parent or something and they say good job once, you're like, that my parent is so great. Look how great my dad is. He told me a good job that one time. That's what he is. And you're like, and for me watching him, I was never on Captain Von Trapp's side. He's not a good dad. I don't think he's going to be a good husband. But when he was all of his anti-Nazi stuff, it made a lot of sense to his character in ways that usually when a character is anti-Nazi or anti-racism or anything, it never seems to come from a place that character would derive those sentiments from. And I think it does in this. So I think that was a good little bit of writing.
And I think that like him singing Edelweiss,
that was a good bit.
It's like such a, like when you think about it, because it is like, it's an Austrian folk song and you get the like bless my homeland forever line in it, and I just feel like it's such a good like middle finger to the Nazis who are like guarding this Austrian music hall. And I really liked that, and I feel like that was something, like I said, I didn't pick up as a child, but now as an adult I'm like, that was like really meaningful and like brave.
Yeah, and when the crowd all sings it together, that was...
And the Nazi guy that I was talking about is like, in the front row, because he's like, don't love Austria, love Germany.
Yeah. Or not even Germany, it's the Third Reich.
Yeah.
Because they're beyond countries now. They're like, oh, we're all united under this one.
World power. Yeah. But yeah, I loved that moment at the festival where everyone sings along, and...
That was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
And I got a little misty at that too.
What was not was the Jam and Bread remix.
The speed remix?
I love to follow so. I love to follow so. A drink with jam and bread. A drink with jam and bread.
A drink with jam and bread.
A drink with jam and bread. Jam and bread with jam and bread. Tea with jam and bread. Tea with jam and bread. Jam and bread. Jam and bread. Tea with jam and bread. Jam and bread. Tea with jam and bread. With ABC. With jam. Tea with jam and bread. With jam and bread. With jam and bread.
They have done this song already in the movie.
Yeah.
So not only is it not new, but they're just making it worse now?
Yeah, I guess.
I didn't like that Jam and Bread remix.
No. I also felt bad. I think I said this while we were watching it, for the other contestants in this contest, because they got to sing like 4 songs.
Yeah. And
I'm sure everyone else just sang one. And they get like an encore, and like while the judges are tabulating, they get to sing, so that I bet they like swayed the judges a little bit with their so long farewell.
It wasn't fair.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so they have the Jam and Bread remix where they say jam and bread so many
Tea with
times.
jam and bread, jam and bread.
Jam and bread. Bread and jam and bread.
Tea.
And then they do Edelweiss.
Yeah.
And with the group sing along.
Yeah.
And then they do the sped up version of Goodbye, which again, I saw this already and it was funny last time.
Yeah, this one is...
And now are you doing it to like rise the tension a little bit? You can kind of see that because they look around on their exits a bit, but it didn't go far enough that way to make it make sense to have it a second time.
Uh-huh.
I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't get why half of this musical doesn't have any new songs in it.
Yeah.
And why every song is in it like 2 or 3 times.
I do feel like Edelweiss was a good one for this, but I think we could have done a different song. Like The Sound of Music. Sing The Sound of Music again. It's the title
We've already
track.
had that twice.
I know, but I just...
How about a new song?
Sure, a new song. But I liked their performance. I do think that Uncle Max should have stalled harder.
Yeah, he was like, all right, let's move on to the next thing. Where are they? Oh, they're gone. My bad.
So fast. So fast.
You could have stalled Max.
Could have
dropped the ball on that
like
one.
had the first or the third and second place people like sing a line.
Let him do a speech.
Like, remind us what you did. Sing a little song, since the Von Trapps got to sing 4 songs.
Right.
And like just like really stall, Max. You could have done such a way better job at this and given them more than like 4 minutes lead.
So then they escape. They go to the Abbey, of course, and they're searching the Abbey. And then the score is the Good Night song, which also seemed odd to me because this is like a tense, scary moment. And then we have the funniest song.
Yeah.
That was a weird choice.
It is a weird choice. I do think that there are other score songs that would have worked better for this like background if they're just trying to use a song that they've already used in the movie.
I still think do new songs for the second half of the movie that capture this tone rather than how do we put that tone on a song we've already established is funny and feel good.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make it spooky now?
Yeah. It could have been a way better song.
Second half of the movie?
No, a way better song for that moment. And we got Rolf back in our lives.
Oh yeah, Rolf the Nazi.
Rolf the Nazi. And
why couldn't they just wait 10 more minutes?
Right? Like
they had to like jump out and be like, okay, time to go. You can't leave now anyway. They're still there.
Yeah, you could have stayed all night. Literally, you're locked in there. You're safe. You don't need to like rush out of the building.
Or wait till they leave.
Yeah.
But they couldn't wait those 10 minutes. And because of that, I assume all those nuns get killed after.
Yeah. They literally climb every mountain.
No, I think they literally climb a mountain.
Okay. How far away is Switzerland from Austria?
So the thing is, they're in Salzburg.
Yeah.
If they go over those mountains, they go to Germany.
Okay. So that's what I've always
So there's an error,
assumed.
geographical
Right.
error there.
I've always assumed that it's like Salzburg, mountain, Switzerland, and they just had to climb that mountain and they'd be safe. But I've never actually looked it up on a map. So I guess, yeah, they'd just end up in Germany.
Yeah. Where they, I believe. Now, my geography is not great, but it's all right. I believe the mountains they would go over from Salzburg are the same ones where it's very close to where Hitler's like mountain retreat is. So if they went on those mountains, the closest city after going through the mountains would be Munich, and Salzburg's on the border of Germany.
Uh-huh.
And where Hitler's summer home is, where he may have very well have been at that moment. So they would be going to Hitler.
They're like, let's walk to Hitler, kids.
Switzerland is quite a ways away from where Salzburg is.
That's disappointing. Because
Yeah.
I always just assumed that, yeah, they just had to climb that one mountain and then they'd like go down the mountain and they'd be in Switzerland.
No, they'd be at Hitler's house.
Hitler's mountain retreat.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, that changes some things that I thought at the end of this movie. How did people escape from Austria? Is that like a thing that happened?
Oh, sure. Well, this is a true-ish story.
Right. True.
They didn't climb over mountains. I think they just took a train. They just left.
Right. Yeah, it's disappointing. Changes my feelings on the end of the movie.
Just the geography of it?
Yeah. I guess I always just kind of thought of like people in the States are like, oh, just north of us is Canada. But like really it's a long way away.
Well, depending on where you are.
True. But
You're in Detroit, it's right there.
Yeah.
Then south of you is Canada, oddly.
Oh yeah, that's right. But I just feel like geographically I was misled and I'm a little upset about it.
Well, Austria does share a mountainous border with Switzerland.
Uh-huh.
It's not where Salzburg is, though.
Oh, okay.
Salzburg is very close to the border of Germany.
How many mountains do you think they were going to climb? Like
all of them, I guess.
Every one.
That's what the song says.
Every mountain.
And then the movie's just done.
The movie's just done, and you get some more shaky helicopter shots.
Weird ending.
Yeah.
Very unsatisfactory?
I feel like it's leaving you to make your own decision on what happens.
Well, I don't think that's the case because this was a famous story. When this movie came out, they're a famous family.
Right.
There had already been movies about them.
Yeah.
So the German-speaking world already had all these movies, and I think people are probably pretty aware because they went and lived in the U.S. and toured extensively there. So I think everyone knows. So it's not like so open, but it's just a strange place to end it. It felt like there was going to be another scene, and I was like, oh, this is the end? This is how it ends? Just them climbing those mountains? I get that. I like the cyclical nature that this is where the movie started, and now they're back there.
Yeah.
But it felt very strange.
Yeah, I'm just upset that Salzburg isn't just over the mountain from Switzerland.
I mean, it is. It's right there.
It's very upsetting to me for some
Why
reason.
of everything? That's
I
the
don't
thing.
know why. I just realized that Salzburg is not where I thought it was. So
Not the fact that, like, yeah, their marriage doesn't really make any sense. It's the geography of Austria.
Of Austria. I really just thought that just over that mountain. Yeah. I don't know. Sorry.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. So did you knock down your rating of this movie?
That's the thing. The first half of this movie is an 8 or 9 out of 10 movie.
Yeah.
The second half of this movie is a 6 out of 10 movie.
Oh,
So I guess it's a 7?
I guess.
I don't know. The second half, I thought that, because I've heard talk about the second half being like, oh, people only watch the first half. 'Cause I thought it was that, because that's a fun, happy movie, and then it gets dark in the second half, and that's what people want to avoid. But it's nothing good happens in the second half. Not content-wise of like, oh, it's the rise of the Nazis. That's the bad part. I mean, nothing good happens there's no songs that I haven't heard already. There's worse versions of those songs. There's no real character development that happens in the second half. It's just kind of a bunch of events, because I know it's a biopic, so they just need to get all of those things in. And it felt like the first half of the movie, they're making a fun musical about this family, and we're learning about the characters.
Yeah.
I felt the music was doing some heavy lifting at that point, because those sequences, whether it's a montage or whether it's a song, was teaching me something about each one of them.
Right.
I don't think that was happening in the second half. I think it's just, hey, remember this song? Like, yes, I do. It was an hour ago. Of course I remember it. Here it is again, but not quite as good. It seems if you're making a giant musical, and this was a giant musical, the fact that you're reusing pretty much every song 2 or 3 times seems like, I don't know, I just expect more, right? If we went to see like, did you see the big new Disney cartoon, the big animated musical, and it has the same songs? There's no new songs in the second half of the movie. You'd be really disappointed in it.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't fly.
No.
Even Moana, there's the one song that occurs 3 times, which I think is great because it builds and it's different each time. And it's about that character learning new things each time.
Yeah.
People complain about that. And it's one song that happens 3 times. Here, there's no new songs in the second half of a 3-hour movie. That's kind of what you're doing. You're a 3-hour musical. Put some songs in there.
True.
So I think I try to be critical about movies in a way that makes sense for that movie. I'm not going to say like, well, this wasn't an accurate depiction of the Nazis, because that's not what this movie's doing. But what it is doing is giving you good songs. So give me more of them. If you didn't have any more, save some of those first songs for the second act.
Yeah, I think more songs would have been nice. But I still think this is like a solid 9 out of 10 for me.
Only 9, but it's your favorite musical. It's not a 10?
I'm going to say 10.
All right, I'm glad I convinced you.
Surely for the amount of times that I cried during it.
That is impressive to me. Maybe not impressive. Yeah, impressive on behalf of the movie. That I'm impressed that the movie did that to you, because I did not connect emotionally very often with this movie.
No, I was in it.
Not in the second half, at least. I guess there was the sequence when everyone sang Edelweiss. That was good. And seeing the kids gain some happiness, that was a good bit. But the romance was flat to me.
Oh, disagree.
Do you know what makes you believe in this romance? Because I could articulate why it doesn't work for me. So I was wondering if you know why it does work for you.
I don't think I have an answer.
Okay.
I think it's just the grand romance of like the whole thing. It works on me.
Like, because all of the other emotions and the nature of the film itself is effective, that you're like, whatever they give me, I'm on board for that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because I liked the other stuff, but it wasn't so great that I'm willing to forgive everything.
Oh.
And the romance, I was like, I just kind of feel that I didn't quite see it. It's one of those ones where you're like, yeah, and now they're in love. And we just all go, okay. We don't see them fall in love.
Yeah.
And I think that's my favorite part of a romance story is them falling in love. And here it's, hey, I got rid of that one. How about you now? And she's like, yeah, okay, let's go. Let's go get married the very next scene.
I disagree. But yeah, I think it's just like, it's a package deal. It's The Sound of Music. And I think, yeah, I'm willing to overlook some things because I love The Sound of Music. Yeah.
So my review is, if you have a VHS, just watch the first one.
I think you need to watch the whole movie.
But you would agree that the first half is much better though, right?
I think it's more fun.
Not better.
No.
Oh. Because I don't know what good comes from the second half.
I think it's
historical context, I guess, and that's about
historical context and like the tying up of loose ends.
Except when it leaves them on a mountaintop.
Well, then I just assume that they get to Switzerland safely.
It's going to be a long walk from where they were. They're going to get found out by the Nazis if they keep going that way.
Yeah, true. Well, he was a naval captain. He wasn't
That's
an
true.
army captain.
Yeah. He's like, man, I need some water around here. I don't know where I am.
That's why he lives on, like, I think it's a lake.
That's true.
And he's like, I got to be near water so I know where I am.
Yeah.
And walking over mountains does not involve a lot of water. He wasn't in the Air Force. He wasn't an army. He really just knows water. And that's all. That's why he led them over to Germany. That would be a really disappointing way to end this movie. It would be like, oh, oops.
They find a big house in the mountains and they knock and they're like, please help us. And it's just Hitler.
It's Hitler. That's a twist.
That's the sequel I want. What do you want in the sequel? You said you wanted a sequel to this.
I just want to see their life after making it to safety.
That movie exists.
I know it does. I know there's like the Von Trapps in America or something. Yeah. But I want it to be like whimsical like this movie is, not what actually happened to them.
I have no idea what happens in that movie, so.
Okay. It was made before this movie, right? Like it's like an older.
The ones I'm thinking of, yes.
Yeah.
But there might have, who knows? Someone
so
maybe
many.
made a sequel to this.
Yeah.
There's sequels to everything.
True. Yeah. So Sound of Music, 10 out of 10. Love
Sound of Music, 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything else to say about this movie other than it's fantastic.
My only piece of trivia I know about this movie is that the people of Salzburg, the government, said, like, you can't put up Nazi banners in here. Like,
yeah,
we have a history of this stuff. Like, that's not cool. And then Robert Wise said, oh, okay, I'll just use actual footage of when you really had them up. And then they're like, okay. Do it in a fictitious way. We'll let that go.
I was thinking about that because like this is filmed not that long after they ousted the Nazis.
Yeah, people are still alive.
I do feel like that would have been really hard on Austria to like
20 years later,
see all that stuff come back because that's within your lifetime. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I feel like that's like too soon. But also it tells a fun story that doesn't put the Nazis in a great light. And that's probably one of the only reasons they weren't allowed to do that. It's because it's not like pro-Nazi.
Oh, yeah. I think if it was a pro-Nazi movie, that'd be a much harder sell.
Yes, absolutely. The other piece of trivia that I know is that Charmaine Carr slipped during the 16 going on 17 dance and fell through one of the panes of glass in that gazebo then had to continue filming and was in like a great deal of pain. Yeah, because she slipped and fell through some glass. And then because somebody in the wardrobe department didn't put like slippy, grippy things on her shoes. And she just slipped off that stone bench and had to continue filming and did not enjoy the rest of that scene, which is sad because it's such a beautiful scene. Well, that brings us to the end of our discussion of The Sound of Music. And I think it didn't sway me like some of your other conversations about movies sway me sometimes.
Oh, which way was I meant to sway you?
Well, no, just sometimes I end up agreeing with you that it was a bad movie, but I
Oh, it's not a bad movie. It is uneven. It has such a high peak in the first bits, and then it can't keep up that pace. And instead it just goes with pace of like everything happening and taking precedent over what I loved about the first half, which was character stuff and good songs.
Yeah. So what are we doing next week, Indy?
Oh, we're keeping the musicals going.
Yes, excellent. Are you sticking with a Nazi musical theme or just a musical theme?
Well, we're each going to have our spoiler-free things of the fortnight.
Yes.
Mine will be a musical, but it's going to extend what a musical means, perhaps.
Yeah.
And then I'll pick my big watch for the week after that. And maybe we've already mentioned where I'm going, but
I wanted to call it a witch watch because I really like that.
Guess we have to do more witch movies or sandwich movies.
Oh, movies about sandwiches. Interesting. Okay,
Will that be the next theme?
No.
Sandwich movies.
Because it's almost Christmas.
It's not, but maybe when this comes out. No, it still won't be.
No, it still won't be. But we are approaching the jolliest, holliest time of the year, Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah. So we will see you next week. And I can't wait to know what Indy's going to bring us for the week after. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.